On average, Adrian's salary is 1.05 times the previous year's salary. If Adrian initially had 52,000 and n denotes the number of years, what's the recursive equation? What's the recursive equation for Adrian's annual income? F of n, write f of n as a function for of a year. Okay, so the first term, f of 1, is just going to be 52,000. So now for any recursive function, you're going to list the first term. Then what you're going to do is you're going to say that the next term is equal to the previous term and then this is the tricky part. You're going to either oops, that's way over on the screen for me to get there. You're either going to add or subtract the common difference, and that occurs if it's arithmetic. Arithmetic, you're adding or subtracting the same number to get to the next term, or you're going to multiply by a common ratio. So that's the common ratio. And that is a geometric sequence. So it's the same every time. So if I come over here, now that I know what the first term is, my next term, f of n, is equal to the previous term. So if this was the third term, the previous term would be f of 2, or in other words, f of n minus 1, right? And then in this case, because it increases and it says times 1.05 times, that literally is the clue that we're multiplying by the ratio of 1.05. And then one thing I've kind of glossed over and haven't made a big deal out of is that these are going to be integers because you're not going to have a 1.5 term. You're just going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's for n greater than or equal to 2, and then you just say integer. Okay. Why would we write that down? Well, I mean, you really got to define what you're plugging in for n. You wouldn't plug in 1 because we know what the first term is. So you really want to clarify that. And as I said before, sometimes you could start with 0 depending on how the problem is worded, right? But in most of these problems, they've all been rigged up. Well, actually, for this section, they've all been rigged up so that your first term is n equals 1, okay?